Hello, this is Gray Hughes of Gray Hughes Investigates on YouTube. Today's a continuation of yesterday's video. As you can see right here, this is when Richard Allen was driving in his black 2016 Ford Focus. He's just now driving by the Hoosier Harvest Store, and he'll pull into where the abandoned CPS building was at the time. Currently it's just a little bit of a cement on the ground and a fire hydrant and weeds. And what we'll see in the video today is the walk from the parking area to the Freedom Bridge, likely the exact route that he walked after parking at the abandoned CPS building. So this is what we saw at the end of yesterday's video. We will pull in here, and right in this area is where he backed his vehicle in next to the abandoned CPS building at the time. It's no longer there. And if you can see right there, there's a trail leading off. It looks like tire tracks, but it leads off over to the Freedom Bridge. And here is that same path right now, and we're just going to see what this does. So this is likely where Richard Allen walked. I mean, there isn't really another way to get to the Freedom Bridge from the abandoned CPS building. And as we know, after this walk, Richard Allen passes 3 girls that he remembers seeing. There was actually 4 girls there. Betsy Blair even saw the same 4 girls when she drove underneath Old State Highway 25, the bridge there. So when Betsy Blair drove under this right here, she saw the same 3 girls. Now right now we're looking at this path right here, and we're currently walking down that. And I think this walk takes about 3 or 4 minutes. So if Richard Allen parked there at, let's say, he drove by the Hoosier Harvest Store at 1:27. And if we take a look at this map right here, he drives by the Hoosier Harvest Store right in this location at 1:27. So he would have arrived at the abandoned CPS building at 1:28, given the 0.3 miles, and it would take 1 minute. Now we don't know how long he sat in his car there, perhaps preparing. It would take 3 minutes to walk from the abandoned CPS building to the Freedom Bridge. So let's get back to the walk right now. So if we're taking a look at Google Earth here, probably about right in this area at this point, and it'll go around like that. And you'll see that it'll turn here. I mean, it was a pretty convenient place to actually park. They built a path from the, I don't know if it was built there when the abandoned CPS building wasn't abandoned, or is this something that was created after it became an abandoned CPS building? So there's the Freedom Bridge right there. I guess what we could do here is take a look at what it used to look like. So here is the abandoned CPS building. Let's go back in time to maybe 2012. Yeah, so definitely there wasn't a path or anything because there was no Freedom Bridge at the time. But this was the old abandoned CPS building, and it looked like that. Currently it looks like this. So you pull in here, and I guess what that means is the building is quite a bit back from where I pulled in. So I pulled in here and parked. The building is back over here. Looks like it's completely overgrown with weeds at this point. So this is a July 2022 shot right here. So he would have parked right there, right in this area, backed in. Okay, so let's see if we can find out when that trail was created. It is there in 2017. I mean, it's interesting because here is in September 2014, after the Freedom Bridge was in construction, and you see some tire tracks here, but it wasn't really an official thing. And here it looks like an intentionally made path, and perhaps it became a place where people could just park their vehicles and walk to the Freedom Bridge and then onto the trails. Okay, so let's get back to the video. So this is likely the exact way that Richard Allen went on this path right here. And again, there's the Freedom Bridge. The area that you could park also is over there. That's where the online stalkers met me there. And there it is all the way across the bridge. My wife's walking behind me. She doesn't like being on camera. So and some of these things here I think were put after the homicides took place, like the signs and whatnot. So right now it's been 3 minutes and 19 seconds to get to there. And apparently Richard Allen ran into the 3 girls not too far after this point right here. There were 4 girls, only 3 of the girls were interviewed though. And Richard Allen only remembered seeing 3. So maybe there's a reason. Maybe the other girl was off in a little different direction, a little further away, something like that. We don't really know the specifics of that. All right. So that was the walk to the Freedom Bridge and the area where the 3 girls were seen by Richard Allen, and they saw him. So from above, he walked right down this path a lot like this, and then around onto the Freedom Bridge, and then off of it, walking down the trail. I mean, I don't know if you technically call that the bridge, but the little circular area there. Cross it, and then he walked down this direction. Now, if you remember, the girls were at a bench. When I say the girls, I mean the 3 girls, not Abby and Libby, that were there. There was a bench that they were at taking photographs. So there's a bench there, there's a bench right here, and then there's benches here. Now, I think it's one of these 2 benches that they were taking photographs. And when they were walking out, they passed Richard Allen as he was coming in, an individual who looked exactly like Richard Allen. And Richard Allen himself admits to walking by those same girls who saw him. Now, they describe him a little differently. One says he was wearing all black. One says he was wearing a light blue jacket with blue jeans, etc. And yet the descriptions are consistent with what you might remember somebody looking like being in the wooded area at this point. They all saw him, and he admits to seeing them. There aren't 3 girls out there that have just never come forward, all right? So since they saw him as he was entering the park, it means that he also was lying when he said he got there at 12 and left at 1:30, okay? This absolutely proves when his car drove by at 1:27, parked at 1:28, almost exactly when he said he was there to the conservation officer. 1:30 to 3:30. Parks his car. He gets out. We don't know how long he sat in there, but let's just say between 1:31 and 1:35, he passes the girls. Those 3 girls aren't really they're not in a hurry, so they're just chatting around. And then at 1:43, they go over the Old State Road 25 bridge here as Betsy Blair drives underneath it. And that's at about 1:43. She drives around like this, and at 1:46 passes the Hoosier Harvest Store and parks. And Richard Allen at 1:35, it takes about 12 minutes to get to the start of the bridge. So at 1:47-ish, he is at the start of the bridge over here. And Betsy Blair had just been, had just gotten out of her car at that point, and she walks down in this direction, and then it takes about 6 minutes. So she's about 6 minutes behind Richard Allen. And then 2 minutes after Betsy Blair got there, that's when Abby and Libby were dropped off. And then Betsy Blair continues on and sees a man standing on platform 1 wearing the exact same clothing that Richard Allen says he was wearing. And Richard Allen himself said he was standing on platform 1 looking at fish. Then after this woman, Betsy Blair, saw Richard Allen, she was about 50 feet away, so didn't really get a great look at him. So Betsy Blair sees this individual wearing clothing that looks exactly like the clothing that Richard Allen says he was wearing. He was standing on platform 1, and he was looking at fish. Richard Allen himself admits to standing on platform 1, and he described exactly what he was wearing. And then what he was wearing matches exactly what the individual in Libby's video was wearing. So Betsy Blair runs into him about 1:55, 1:53, 1:55, turns around, and then at like 1:58 or so, passes Abby and Libby as they're coming this direction. And then Abby and Libby get to the start of the bridge at like 2:01 or something. Because they're not walking really fast. They're not in a hurry to get to the bridge or anything. Betsy Blair was exercising. Abby and Libby were just there to have a good time. So when Abby and Libby get here, they likely passed Richard Allen, and then there's a photograph that they took of the full length of the bridge, that direction, and then Libby stands on this platform, takes a picture back this way. In none of those shots can you see the individual that looks like Richard Allen, because it is him. And then when they get to the end of the bridge here, he's coming up on them. He hustles across the bridge. You can actually get across the bridge in 3 or 4 minutes walking quickly. Abby and Libby took a long time to get across. The image was at 2:07 at platform 3 that Libby took of Abby. And then 6 minutes later, they're at the end of the bridge, standing off the end of the bridge, and the killer is about right here, 58 to 60 feet away, coming towards the girls as Abby's still on the end, but then gets behind Libby, and then eventually says, "Guys," and Abby says, "He's got a gun, he's got a gun," and then you hear a click sound, and then he says, "Down the hill." Then they're forced down the hill, across the creek, and into this area right here. So hopefully when you put all this together in order, it makes sense. If you go back and watch some of the other videos, you'll have a really good understanding of the entire area. In recap, today's video was just after Richard Allen's vehicle parked here at the abandoned CPS building. He gets out of his vehicle, and then he walks on this path right here, and then in this general area is when he passed the 3 girls. Those 3 girls that he remembers seeing, there were 4 actually, but those 3 girls that he remembers seeing are really crucial because they prove that he was getting there at 1:30, not leaving at 1:30, like he tried to claim in October of 2022, knowing that the timing was very important at that point. And as an aside, I wanted to let you guys know that Richard Allen has been transferred. According to WNDU, the man accused of murdering 2 teenage girls in Delphi more than 6 years ago has been moved to a different prison. According to our sister station, WTHR, Richard Allen was transferred from the Westville Correctional Facility in LaPorte County to Wabash Valley Correctional Facility in Sullivan County on Wednesday. Allen is accused of killing Abby and Libby in Delphi back in February of 2017. Now, that just happens to be the same prison that Richard Allen is in. I wonder if they will allow them to share a cell together. Maybe there'll be some strange conversations recorded. You just never know. Among their complaints, this is what Richard Allen, this is why he wanted to be transferred, was that Allen's cell being too cramped. It was only 6 foot by 10. Him sleeping on a pad on a concrete floor. Only allowed to shower 1 or 2 times per week. Required to wear the same clothes, including underwear, for days that are soiled, stained, tattered, and torn. This is all the stuff that the defense said. I don't believe any of this right here. This is absolutely ludicrous. No opportunity for Alan to visit his wife or family members in the past 5 months. The electronic tablets he uses to call family members is monitored by prison officials, and the cost of their calls are being borne by Alan and his family. Alan is afforded very little recreational time. Information Alan's attorney provided to him to review as part of his defense on March 24th are yet to be provided to him as of April 3rd. It is difficult for the attorneys to meet with him given his segregation and isolation, which keeps him from being able to assist in his defense. We don't know exactly why he was transferred recently, but it is interesting, nevertheless, that he was transferred to the same prison that Kegan Kline is in. So that's it, everybody. Thank you very much for watching. Please hit the like button and leave a comment in the comment section. So thank you very much for watching, and as I always say, until next time, be safe out there.